Hello, welcome to another one of these things that I'm doing. Today, I had a bit of a, wishy-washy get nothing done at work today day. Now, that's not because I tried at work. I actually tried at something for 8 hours straight. And I was asking questions, and no one really knows how to do it, and it's important to figure out, and I'm the one that's trying to figure it out. I made some really good attempts. I got some feedback that what I was doing is very difficult, near impossible to do, but we need to get it done. So I'm kind of in a figure it out at all costs situation, and it's a little stressing me out, but I will be fine. Anyways, I need to get back to John Hopkins work pretty soon, but I wanted all of you to know. I mentioned earlier, in I think the second video I ever did, Dinger City. I want to bring it back up. That YouTube channel, Dinger City, that plays Mario Baseball, it's criminally underrated. And now that they're a good way through their season called the Moneyball 2, I would highly recommend it as a starting place if any of you have any time on your hands, even just to listen to it in the background. I think they're highly entertaining, and I just want to publicly share my support for them again. I love them. They're great. I find them highly entertaining, and they always brighten up my day. And I have a friend who listens to this and may be a very large canine, who I've been watching these videos with, and it's just, it's made my summer a little bit. It's definitely brightened it up. So yeah, I highly recommend watching that channel. I'm not going to link it. And on things that I'm not going to do, I used to, as some of you may remember, started recapping my Hunter game and kind of stopped. I think I'm going to pick that up again pretty soon. It's been a while, but I am heading into a week where I'm not going to have Johns Hopkins classes, which will give me the time to recap, if I have basically a week off, 7 of the chapters, which will allow me to complete story 1, which is the only story that the only story which kind of has a definitive start point and a definitive end point. It's a cliffhanger of an end point, for sure. Things do not get resolved at the end, but it at least follows a pretty thorough progression and has plot beats that you can follow. The other one, story 2, it was all heading there in some points, but story 2, for those that don't know of my Hunter game, progressed, and then I got a new desktop, and Foundry, you can back up your files, but the issue is Foundry, at least the way I had it set up on my old desktop, was storing the files in 2 different locations. One was in my local roaming directory, and one was, I had set it to a documents folder, and I copied all the documents folder backup data over. But that didn't actually include something called the world file. And the world file, from what I was reading online, contained basically all the character information and the scene information, basically all the metadata for what I needed. And I lost the second game. And my friend Jackson had also recommended to go back and try and use a hard drive scrubber to try and get it back, and I couldn't get it off of my SSD from my old desktop. So that was a mistake, but I had a backup from the end of story 1, so we kind of picked up from there for story 3, which is a bit weird because story 2 was always gonna go where I thought it was gonna go for story 3. It's basically I just skipped ahead a bunch, but story 2, even at its best, was a kind of a nightmare to follow because there was so much going on in so many locations and things happening simultaneously, so that if I were to try and explain it, I think the plot would get lost. Essentially, Story 2 broke up into 3 settings. I tried to do a 3-setting game, which means 3 separate sets of characters, all played by... So every player had 3 characters. Each of the characters they played was in a different location, so they were essentially playing 3 campaigns simultaneously, and the characters in each of the campaigns knew about some of the characters in the other games, which leads to timeline nonsense and weird character actions, but it ended because of the crash. And, well, not the crash, because of me being dumb and not backing up my computer checking on my new computer before I wiped my old one. And the reason I wiped my old one, in case you're wondering, is because I gave it to Teresa as her computer because she really wanted a desktop for Christmas or... Well, that's not true. She really wanted a desktop, and she did not want one for Christmas. And so I went, well, what if I give you my desktop, my old desktop, because I want it. I saw the way RAM prices were going. What if I give you my old desktop when I buy my new computer, and then you can have that, and I'll keep my new one, and I'll just wipe it, and it can be complete yours. So that's what I did. I got the new one. I moved everything from a hard drive that I wanted to save, which was very little. It was like maybe 100 gigabytes of stuff, between 50 and 100 gigabytes of stuff, and from what was essentially 1.5 terabytes. And so I wiped everything off the old hard drive, installed the new one, and then the rest was history. The other thing was, it was on my SSD is where I stored everything. So I reformatted my SSD. I did not... I had a hard drive, but that's not where the Hunter game was anyways, so there was no way I was going to be able to go through the hard drive and get it. It would have had come from the SSD, which was not going to leave that machine. I don't know why I'm telling you all of this, but... yeah, that's about it. I really wanted to go to the gym tonight, but I got home from work pretty late, and then, like I said, I still need to do Hopkins stuff. I guess I could still go. It would be like midnight by the time I go to bed, which means I'd have to be like on 6 hours of sleep probably. Yeah, 6 hours of sleep going into tomorrow, and I have like this bump on my chin. Yeah, it's like a pimple or a bruise or something. Interesting. Well, more on that tomorrow. Tune in tomorrow when I talk about the pimple or bruise on my chin. Okay. See ya. Bye.